This podcast is not a replacement for therapy. All conversations, guests, tips, recommendations, etc. that are discussed are provided as educational, thought-provoking, inspirational insights, and not specific professional therapeutic or psychiatric advice. Our views expressed are our own personal experiences, insights, and perspectives. Information heard here is to be used at your own caution and discretion. As always, please seek out your own mental and medical health care to best serve you. Hey, cuz, it's been a minute.
Hey,
I'm talking specifically so close to the microphone because you say I'm too quiet. I've learned.
Oh yeah, I forgot I said that.
Yes, I remember everything. It's a lockbox of painful memories.
Oh my gosh. I think it's been almost a year. Not quite, but almost a year since our last recording. At least some of our subscribers have reached out to me and let me know that. And I was like, oh,
that's awesome.
Whoopsies.
That's awesome that they missed us.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing to hear. But life be lifing sometimes, and time gets away from you. So
I know all about that. I'm happy to see your face. Let's dive in.
Yours.
Because you know what? We turned over a new leaf for 2024. We're not doing as many podcasts, and we're also going to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about cheating. And it's the beginning of a series, and maybe there will be 5 installments about cheating. Why do people cheat? It will kind of unfold. So we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah. I think today we're mostly going to try to focus on the why behind cheating and infidelity. Of course, we always come with our stats. That's how we do. But, there'll be some mental health stuff thrown in as to like the reasoning. And then, as per usual, some stories from clients or friends or whatever have you. But we will still try to keep this short and sweet. Right?
Sounds good. Yeah. I will start with the legal definition of cheating before we get into subjective.
Did you say legal?
I did. What is the legal definition? Because
yes,
I mean, but that also brings up another question about normally people look at cheating within a marriage relationship.
Yeah.
But cheating occurs in so many different relationships.
Yeah.
But legal definition is infidelity is the act of being unfaithful to a spouse or other partner. Typically means engaging in sexual or romantic relations with a person other than one's significant other, breaking a commitment or promise in the act.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I feel like that definition probably needs to have so many caveats to it in the sense of like where we are in 2024, because I cannot tell you how many people come to me and they're like, is this cheating? Because I feel like I am cheating, or I feel like my partner's cheating. And it's mostly obviously stuff related to social media, because 10, 20 years ago, we didn't have this type of access to everybody across the world, right? And so now it's like, well, he's cheated on me. He liked this girl's post. And she's half dressed, like, and or he slid into her DMs, or she's texting a coworker, via Instagram, like whatever it is, right? But I feel like
it's true. I work with a lot of adolescents, and one couple that come into my office, the girl announced, actually, her friend told me first, oh, so and so broke up with her boyfriend of 8 months. And it turned out that he had liked he had a lot of saved girls in TikTok that were looked a certain way. And she said, that doesn't look like me.
The opposite? Okay, I was about to ask, like, did they look the opposite? Yep.
And she said, yeah, like half dressed. And she's like, what's up with this? And really, just as for her, there's a hard line. If you're liking other women that aren't your girlfriend, that's cheating. I don't care if you're addicted, you can get over it. Cut it off now.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. You talk about the lines, right? Every relationship has its own dynamics. So every relationship defines whether or not this is crossing the line, because there are plenty of relationships where they're like, yeah, hey, you can sleep with this person and that person as long as I'm there, or you can sleep with that person as long as you let me know, so it's just like, again, that definition of infidelity is like,
well, but guess what, those people who have more open relationships, I have heard from friends, people still cheat and they still break those agreements. And
have you seen that show? It's a new show, 3 Women. Have you seen that?
I'll have to.
Like the Wanda, I don't remember what character she plays, but that was like their thing was he may bring someone into the bedroom, she may bring someone into the bedroom, but the whole thing is that they both have to be there, right? And so what happened was she liked someone, right? And then she asked her husband, begged her husband. He was like, no, I'm not comfortable, blah. She finally gets him to allow it, right? But then it turns into more than that. It's like her husband's gone to bed, then she sleeps with him again outside of her husband's presence. And then she's communicating with him and, emotion, like getting, I would say like more of an emotional effect. Absolutely. Yeah. And so I'm like, then that would be considered cheating because it's a betrayal of trust. If that makes sense.
Also, I guess this comes into, and this is leading, communication, where maybe this woman was afraid to communicate to her primary partner, hey, I want more. And this is important to me. Because then it becomes clear. It becomes clear of, oh, this is what I want. Can we still do this together?
Yeah. And it's always the communication, cuz, isn't it? Like the breakdown of that is the breakdown of any relationship, monogamous, poly, non-monogamous, whatever have you. I will say, okay,
yeah.
So the stats, I'm gonna try to stay on task today, although it's very difficult for me.
Look at it. Yes, I love
all right. It. So 21% of people in monogamous relationships admit to cheating, compared to 16% of married individuals. Across all relationship types, 64% of people actually regret having an affair.
How many?
64% regret it.
Okay.
That means like 36, like, heck no, I did. That was good. I'm glad I did that. I'm sorry.
And I do it again. I do it
again. More men than women admit to cheating, 23% versus 19%, which is interesting. Wow. Bring up
what
a
year was
later.
This? Yeah.
Oh, this is actually 2024.
That's cool. All right.
And let's see. I'm thinking we're going to touch on this in another part of this series, but 33% to 40% of affairs, I just had to say this because I was like, this is very interesting. 33% to 40% of affairs happen with a friend, and 29% to 31% happen with a coworker. And that made me go because I was like, I cannot tell you how many people are like, I don't want my partner to have a friend of the opposite sex or same sex if they have same sex relationships, right? Because it's like you're kind of asking for it, but then you have so many people that come into a relationship with a bestie or a best friend that they've known, way longer than their partner. And it's just like, why should I have to give up this person? I feel like it's a murky topic because in some cases, like, these two people are very platonic. Like, they don't want each other in any type of, physical or sexual way. However, there was something I read not too long ago that talked about, how leaning on, I think it called it micro cheating. I was just like, what is this? What are all these terms? It's called micro cheating. If you like lean on someone who is not your partner, for like emotional support or emotional comfort.
I totally disagree with micro cheating. I think I'm full of anger. I think that's stupid. Sorry for anybody who believes in that. This is why.
Why is that, cuz?
This is why people are becoming so isolated. You are making your partner be the sole person in which you rely on for all of your needs. And this gets into, spoiler alert, cross-culturally, where if you are putting all of this pressure for this one person to fulfill your identity, and your identity is built on this one person, when cheating does occur, it's going to be very difficult to recover because your identity is crushed. Versus having a community of women, say in more communal societies, versus individualistic ones. So, like, I've got.
Oh, that's a whole other pot to stir, because I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I tell people all the time, like, if you're gonna be in a healthy, committed relationship, you need to have friends outside of that relationship, but then you also need to have couple friends together, and then you need to just be able to be autonomous outside of that relationship. Like, do some things on your own. Like, you want to stay away from being or feeling dependent on your partner, right? But I do feel like, yes, I've seen cases where someone brought that friend into that relationship in a sense of like they already had that friend and then they started a relationship, and then that partner, became friends with their partner's friend, and then it was just like hip hip hooray, everything's great, right? But I've seen other situations where, some guy, I hate to say guys, but this is the only example I know. Sorry, I'm not saying that only guys do this, but it was a situation where, he was basically saying, hey, like, there's nothing wrong with guys having female friends. Like, we should all, like, you should be secure in yourself. Like, it says you have low self-esteem if you can't handle me having friends who are females. And I was like, okay, there's some truth to what he's saying. I was like, however, what he was doing was not having a female for what he was doing was dating. I was like, what is happening right now is your boyfriend is dating. I was like, he meets somebody while he's in a relationship with you, gives them his number, he takes their number, they make a date to go out to coffee, and then dinner after, he picks her up and drops her off. That is a date. That is not.
Question.
Sorry. Yeah.
Question. So my dad and I got into the definition of dating. What is that? Because I'm like, that's not dating. But I'm one of those girls or women or ladies who had a lot of male friends in general. And he said, what did he say? Anytime you're getting together with someone, technically it's a date from a literal sense.
Well, okay, yeah.
And so, like, what if he hadn't? So I guess the question is, did he pay for her dinner? Does a financial... Okay, then. That was a date.
And the girl, they went for ice cream at the end, and she called her boyfriend and was like, where are you? You said you'd be done by now. He was like, oh, we were just having so much fun. We decided to go get ice cream together. He was like, but she's here with me, and I'm about to drop her off now. And the girl was like, wait, what? Like, what? Like, it's 10 o'clock at night now. Like, you started this date at 3 p.m.
Is he European?
No, I think he's Filipino, actually.
Okay.
I don't know.
There might be cultural. There
could be
cultural differences.
There could be, but I told her it was a red flag. I didn't tell her. I said, hey, this sounds like this could be a red flag. Just be careful. Eventually they broke up, and then she found out from other people that he was cheating on her like the whole time. But that the people he said was his friends, they were actually dating. He was actually literally dating while he was in the relationship. So I don't know. I'm just I'll say this. Jim, I really just feel like people just need to be careful. Keep your eyes open. Don't snoop. And like, I have so many classes. Like, I had to snoop. I had to open their phone. Why? Why should you have to do that?
Because that's not intimacy.
No. And it's not trust. Like, okay, if you're going to trust them or trust her, trust them all the way. Right? If you're having to go through their phone, then something's going on in that relationship. Then you need to take a step back and think about, okay, what's going on in this relationship to where I'm thinking I'm having to sneak and put the phone in front of their face while they're sleeping and open one eye.
Does that actually work?
With a face ID? I don't know. But I did have someone say they tried that, and they were like, but they wouldn't open their eyes, and it just didn't work out. And I think a lot of them don't have like the thumbprint thing anymore. It's just a face thing. But anyway, I digress. I get off topic. So I do want to say, infidelity increases for both men and women during middle age. Women in their 60s have the highest rate of infidelity, while men in their 70s have the highest rate, which is interesting. I would have thought that interesting 40s. Too. Because haven't you heard that? Like, our sex drive just woo. It really after during the 40s.
Yeah.
But
maybe these people aren't reporting in the 40s. Maybe people in their 60s and 70s feel more comfortable reporting this. Because this is a self-report. And so
yeah.
Maybe they feel like they have nothing to lose, and they're more open about it.
That's true. That's true, because the fucks given are just, they dwindle the older you get. It's just like, no, I'm too old for that. No. So I hear that. I mean, that's very interesting though, because I'm like, dang, you still get that at 60, 70? Okay.
So this is another thing, and this is another side topic. It seems like, and this is not related to infidelity, that there isn't much research being done on middle-age human development. And I know that we're living longer. What constitutes middle age? Is it 30 to 60? We're living longer now. Mm-hmm. Before, people were probably dying at 60 or 70, but now we're living a lot longer. Mm-hmm. But there's so much psychological work on early development and adolescence, but it seems like it drops off after 25, and then we pick it up with gerontology, which are the extreme age, like 80 and beyond. I'm curious about that. There needs to be more, and that's another thing. Like, in my 20s, I was talking to my high school bestie. You remember Desperate Housewives? Mm-hmm. So that's taking place in their 30s and 40s, I guess. Mm-hmm. And watching it in my 20s, my friend and I were just so scandalized.
Yep.
What kind of nonsense is this? Who does this?
I know.
Who knew? And then as we get older, it's like, wow.
Yep.
Friends. It's it's not talked about. It's brushed under the rug. And it's like, wow, people should have been warning young people in an honest way.
Yep.
So that's okay. Do we need to go back to stats?
So
Did we get off?
I'm not gonna horn in on, because I know you're gonna talk about the reasons, but I did want to mention that men who didn't grow up in intact families, and those who rarely or never attended religious services, are more likely to cheat, apparently. And the divorce rate is 80% for those who cheat and don't open up about their mistakes, but drops to around 43% for those who do admit their mistakes, which is,
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
think, really, yeah. I was gonna say the same word. Beautiful. I think that's beautiful. Stats always just open my eyes. I'm still stuck on the 60s. I'm like, yeah, girl, get it in your 60s. Oh, yeah. That just gives me hope.
I just have to, well, I'm going to tell you something off camera. I don't know if it's appropriate. But I witnessed a woman approaching her 60s in public.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a public dressing down, like undressing a man with her eyes. And I was like, ooh.
She was like, you better watch. I'm going to jump on you. I'm telling you, when you get that age, don't fuck Kimmy. You can jump.
I was walking next to her.
Oh.
And this is somebody that I knew. This is somebody that I knew now. And listen, there was a man walking with his girlfriend and this 60-year-old straight. And I looked up and down. I was like, oh. I can't believe it. But that makes my tummy feel funny. That makes me feel
okay, but this person is somebody you knew, and I would imagine probably know very well. So that may, be the reason why. But, that does make me think of the fact that like I'm in my 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I was in my 20s.
Yes.
My friends call me like a bunny because, sex is amazing.
You had a lot of love to give. Is
yes,
that what you're saying?
but monogamously and with one person. But if you're in a healthy relationship, why not? Why wouldn't you? But then you look back and you're like, man, like I had so much energy and I had so much sex drive. But then I'm in my 40s and I'm like looking back and I'm like, I feel the same way that I did in my 20s. Like, and I'm thinking when I get to my 60s, like, yes, people will see me and they'll think you're in your 60s. That means a certain thing when it comes to sex, but I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure I'll be like these Instagram 60-year-old women that I be seeing that I'd be like, dang, girl, you get it.
Are you gonna post thirst trap pictures in the 60s? If Martha Stewart,
my body right the way I want, cuz you better believe. Like that person that was undressing. I ain't gonna be undressed with my eyes. I'm gonna go look at here, boy. How old are you? You're 40. You don't know with 60 it can get you. I'm experienced. I'm sorry. I was getting off topic. I'm sorry. But yeah, I can see that. Like 60s, why not? I'm not seeing the cheating part. Like I would imagine maybe at that time you're just like, I don't have time to waste. You're not. I mean, I would hope that wouldn't change people's morals though, like because you're older. I don't know. But yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna head to I'm done with stats. I'm done.
Okay, let's see.
So many reasons.
There are many reasons. And this probably is not an exhaustive list.
Yeah.
There are so many reasons why they cheat. And that includes low self-esteem. Mm-hmm. When someone feels invisible or down on themselves, the attention from another partner can be a chemical boost. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm going to talk forever. This stands out to me too, because I feel that when people are interacting with one another, cheaters versus those being cheated on, they are transferring the feelings that they have about themselves to another person. Mm-hmm. And it might not have anything to do with that partner, but yeah, I can't help but think that when somebody discovers that they've been cheated on, that their sense of value or self-worth can take a hit.
Oh my goodness.
Depending on
Yes.
the culture. So, sexual desire. Some people cheat because of sexual desire, even if they are in a fulfilling relationship. Anger. Some people cheat to get back at their partner for a perceived wrongdoing. Feeling
So
unappreciated.
retaliation.
Yeah. Maybe also power. Yeah.
I don't like that. If I piss you off, baby, let's have makeup sex. Why are you going outside? What? You angry? Come on, let's go up in there. Tie me up. Like,
I love your cousin.
Let me get that anger out, but I don't go outside the relationship. I just now okay.
Well, hold on, but here's the thing: when that person says anger, that probably means that they also feel disempowered, right? Like, so you're saying, "Hey, if I mess up, tell me about it. Hey, and guess what? You can punish me. Let's work this into our relationship, and I'm willing to pay the price." That's what I heard you say. And
not pep. Cause why you gotta do me like that? No, I'm saying makeup sex is
the price that you. That's the price that you wanted to pay. You said, "I heard you say spanked." That's what I heard. So
look, I'm Janet Jackson. Tie me down. Make me. Oh, sorry. But yes.
But like, I'm looking at somebody going outside as them claiming some type of power, and that their expression of anger is something, who knows?
Because it's not really anger. Like, you look at the anger iceberg, right? So much underneath anger, right? You know, jealousy, rejection, whatever it is. But I will say, like, no, I'm going to ask, like, with underneath that umbrella, would like, okay, I think that they're cheating on me?
Maybe, but there can be. Well, I think the anger actually goes into other relationship problems, because the list is exhaustive. So I guess it's kind of tying in, what could somebody feel angry about? Maybe there are problems in the relationship, such as domestic violence, emotional abuse, financial pressures, also financial abuse as well, lack of communication or lack of respect. I feel like these are factors that could lead to someone being angry. And if someone doesn't feel like they have a voice to express it, I don't know. Lack of commitment is another one. When one partner is not fully committed, they may be more likely to cheat. Feeling unappreciated. Some people cheat in response to a lack of attention from their partner. Insecurity can lead to cheating for either partner. Situational forces. That's due to situational factors. Like, I heard that, like being in a long distance relationship or going through a fight. And then finally, addiction. People who are addicted may turn to others who are also using them to fulfill their sexual desires.
Like, did they say just addiction in general, or
they said addiction in general, but it made me think of sex addiction, but also there could be substance addiction as well. And maybe you're in a position where that's more likely to happen.
I love addiction. Like, I've seen plenty of people go outside the relationship because they're like, I love and I love people who love on me, and my partner's not loving on me the way I want. The insecurity piece, I can completely see that. Like, you know, for a lot of people who aren't secure in who they are, or have a low sense of self-worth, you know, and their partner is just not reassuring them enough, not making them feel secure enough, their chances of going outside that relationship are much higher.
I've been reading State of Affairs by Esther Perel, and she was describing, because she has done a lot of therapy with couples, where there's been cheating. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, insecurity could have nothing to even do with the partner per se,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like this male was cheating on his wife who was financially thriving and was doing well and making a lot more
Mm.
money. And there was this, he was
Power
struggling.
dynamic,
Yeah.
yes.
And also this sense of like, hey, his own business wasn't doing well, and
Mm-hmm.
looking at the future and yeah, retirement, it was, oh, maybe I'm going to step out because that
That
is
makes
giving me
sense.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was that all? I thought there was more.
Nope.
More. Was
Oh,
that
the other relation, we actually, other
other
relationship
relationship?
problems, I
Okay.
kind of tied that in with anger.
Okay.
So,
So I will say, so wait, was the long distance, was that in relation to other relationship problems? Was that underneath that umbrella?
that was under situational forces.
Oh,
So,
situation. Okay.
so there are factors where your environment is contributing to it,
Mm-hmm.
like being in a long distance relationship or going through a fight where,
Um,
you know, you're like, I'm done.
Absolutely. But more times than not, you ain't done, but whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Um, so okay, so I'm in a long distance relationship, have been for like over 6 years. It is hard. It is very hard. Um, and obviously that's something that is going to come up in a long distance relationship quite often, like the fear, because you're not seeing that partner consistently, right? I will say, as far as I know, there's not been any cheating in our relationship. I know I would never, but there's still like a lot of longing. There's a lot of like frustration, and I feel like
Yeah.
if people don't channel that in a healthy way, if they don't get therapy, sorry, I had to plug it, therapy, chances of them cheating, yeah, is much higher. So like before this podcast, like I asked some people that I knew, and maybe some of them will come on and guest star, but I asked them like why. Well, first of all, I asked them if they ever cheated. Quite a few of them were like, no, never. I never would. And others were really forthcoming, and they're like, absolutely. For whatever reason, I'm not battling this against the stats, but you know, all of the females that I asked had all said yes.
Wow.
All of the males that I asked, except for one, said no, that they've never cheated.
What are the numbers? Like, how many people did you ask?
So about 12 women, about 18 men, one out of the.
Okay.
And I will say, since you mentioned the situational forces, the one guy who did cheat, said that this was a long distance relationship. It's not the current relationship that they're in. This is like a relationship like a long time ago, but it was a long distance relationship. And, like I was saying, like he didn't know how to channel, the frustrations, the longing, all of that. Of course, he said he regrets it. But again, and then the females, most of them said because I wanted to. I don't know. It's like because I wanted to. That was but another factor came up that like maybe we could add to the reasons. Was okay. So dissatisfaction in the bedroom, in the sense of they were with an opposite sex partner as their spouse or their boyfriend, and but they desire same sex. So
Okay.
they stepped outside the marriage or the relationship frequently to satisfy their sexual desires, which was same sex, right? You see a lot of people get married, right? You see, and they have some inkling, that they may be bi or they may be gay or lesbian, but don't always flesh all that out. And before getting married, and then they're stuck in this marriage. And it's like, what do I do with how I feel and what I want?
Hmm.
But yeah, that was really interesting to me because of everything I read, I didn't come across any of those as a reason to cheat. And I wonder if it has to do with I was I've talked to so many guys that I would never understand this, but so many guys who are like, yeah, if my girlfriend or my wife, slept with a woman, that's not cheating. But if she sleeps with a man, oh yeah, she cheated. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, what? How?
That's
I'm
I feel
confused.
like that's I feel like there's a normalization through the porn industry.
Mm, don't bring porn. Don't. Oh wait, we did a podcast on porn.
We did, and it was so much fun. I missed your
Yes, it really
friends.
was. But
But
that's
I
a lot.
feel like there's that's wild. That's wild that the guy said that would be not
A lot of
cheating.
guys say that. Like throughout my life, I have heard that quite often. Some of them have been like, "Man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall. I wish I could be
I
there."
know. That's what I'm imagining, that they think because of that, it's like, oh, maybe I can be invited. And then
Yeah,
that allows them to fulfill.
but for whatever reason, it doesn't affect their pride the way it would if it were another man. Which I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. To me, it seems like it'd be
That's
worse.
interesting. I will say this. Yeah, because that's not, but maybe women feel differently. I have a gay couple that are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
They've been dating for a while, and the issues of jealousy that come up between them, between the one partner, is that she is actually jealous of her partner being friends with men. And she would definitely consider that cheating. Like, she knows, like, she's not threatened by other females
Mm-hmm.
that her partner might have crushes on, and they're very vocal, like, oh, I have a crush on her, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But she gets enraged
Mm.
because it comes down to that a man can provide something to her partner that she can't.
Oh,
And so it is,
okay.
it's interesting. It's for her, it's like she's not threatened by females at all. But yeah, and then yeah, maybe that goes into other
I didn't even
things.
think about that, but that does make sense. Like someone being, and I guess maybe that's why a lot of people are like they don't want their partner um, to even like have this best friend that they've had for years because they're like they have a connection that we might never have, or they
Mm-hmm.
may be providing something that but then that goes right back to insecurity, right? Are you really secure in a relationship? Maybe we should.
Well, and it's interesting. I didn't tell this story, and I probably shouldn't, but early on in my marriage, my husband was very insecure.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a church function, and I've always been friends with guys. I was
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with the younger guys in a car, and we were probably sneaking beer, drinking, but these are kids that were not kids, they were legal, but people who
Mm-hmm.
were younger than me, like
Yeah. People you
my
wouldn't
brother's
even
age. In fact,
you wouldn't
in
even give a
fact,
second. Yeah.
in fact, my brother was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I was the only female. I felt totally fine. My brother and, it was just, we were all probably sneaking beers. It was at night, it was late at night,
Mm.
and he comes banging on the door, like, what's going on here? And feeling super
Really?
insecure. And I'm like, psh, dude, why are you,
Mm-hmm.
why are you reacting this way? Like, I don't see myself in this context of even like sexual desire.
Yes.
These are like little brothers to me, and we're
Mhm.
just talking. But yeah,
That goes
that was
back to
something
that
we had to.
security. See, this is why I tell my clients all the time. Like, if they're not already dating, I'm like, please, 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 let's focus on self esteem, self worth, like getting you to a place where you feel whole. Because within that, like you're never going to, well, I don't want to say never, but it's going to be less likely for you to ever feel like, I need to check up on my partner, or, I don't know what they're doing. I feel like, they're doing something behind my back, whatever have you. The communication piece, right? That's the biggest. If you are worried about something, and it could be a trigger from your past, whatever have you, but like just talk to your partner, like sit down, like have a conversation. Don't peel their eyes open while they're sleeping to use to use the face ID to unlock their phone. Communicate, talk about it. Like, you'd be surprised at how many people actually want that. They want you to come to them and talk to them instead of looking through their phone, looking through their purse. I feel like phone is the thing, right? Like, it's just like everything's on the phone. Everybody wants to, but yeah, I know we've already kind of run over, and I apologize for that, but
it was both of us. It was both of us.
I think it really would be I think you have a really good idea of like making this just part one of a series of why do people cheat, or cheating in general, because, I also have some people who are like, hey, I want to come on and talk about my story, or, I have some things to say and maybe can shed some light on the topic, like on a more personal level. So yeah,
that sounds
be
great.
on the lookout for that, listeners.
Sooner rather than later. Hey, who knows? Yes. Maybe we'll churn out another one before 2025.
Oh no, right? Fingers crossed. Maybe before my birthday. Like,
yay! Let's do that. Yeah, and maybe we should have a special election edition for Tuesday.
I know you.
Let's or maybe the day after. Maybe the day after.
Wait. A politics edition, or a more on the cheating?
A politics edition.
Oh, okay.
Let's get zesty.
Zesty and feisty. Because, as always, I really appreciate you. I love the chats. I love the information. I'll be honest, like, there are some things you said that like kind of opened my eyes that I just hadn't even thought about, or make me want to delve in and do more research into. But like we said, this is just the first part, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what questions you have and what you want to investigate. And there was something else that you mentioned too, like all of these, you didn't mention it, but like all of these reasons why people cheat, now it's starting to be seen in the terms of trauma. And like a trauma response and attachment style. So there's a lot.
We were talking about that off. Yeah.
But it is a pleasure. Sorry, I had to sneak that in. But I remember you talking about that before.
We really should we really should take one episode for that, like how the attachment style, like how it correlates or what role it plays in cheating. Yeah, I'm gonna delve in on that too, and the trauma response.
Yeah.
We're gonna have more information. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Love. I love you, cuz it's always
a
pleasure.
Love you, cuz.
I would never
Thank
give
you
up
so
this
much.
Podcast. Never.
Me neither.
You'd have to cheat. You'd have to start a podcast with somebody else.
Definition of cheat. Now we have to. Now we have to
stepping out. You were stepping out, and you're like, I'm doing a new podcast with somebody
else. Never, cuz never. I love you, and guys out there, ladies out there, thank you so much for listening. We truly, truly appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Take care of yourselves.
Thanks for harassing the relative to do more podcasts.
Yes. Thanks for putting up with my loud laughter.
I love it.
We appreciate you. Please take care of yourselves. We will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.